Hello and welcome back to FiddleUP. I'm Emerald Ray, and today we're going to be talking about confidence, or how to be confident. And it's just such an important thing in life, but also in music, and especially in the performance world. It's really important to master the art of appearing confident. And so we're going to talk about how that works today. Obviously, it's ideal to be confident, but all of us can't be confident 100% of the time. And so when I make the distinction between appearing confident, what I mean is you're going to have off days. You're going to have days where you don't feel so great. You're going to have days where you're slightly sick. You're going to have days where something in your life just happened. And you can't always be 100% confident. And sometimes you have to give yourself a push to appear confident, because if you appear confident to other people, then they're going to have confidence in you. Trust me, it works. So the best way to do this is to create a little bit of a persona. And so people get really freaked out by this topic. And so I want to talk about it a little bit in a little bit of detail and talking about what that persona is, because it's not exactly not you. It's just a role that you need to play. So we all play roles in life, and especially in work. So if you're thinking of being a professional musician and going off and doing gigs and, having that whole life, you're going to have to at some point create a persona. And that persona is what you see right here. This is Emerald Ray, and she always has her makeup done. And and she exists only in this tiny little box. So right now I am embodying the persona of Emerald Ray teacher lady who tells you how to do things and knows everything, obviously. No, I'm just kidding. And so, I have created this persona for you, to create this FiddleUP website. I had to decide what role that was going to be. I had to decide, how I was gonna do these videos. And so what you're creating for yourself is more of a role than a persona. Obviously, this Emerald Ray teacher lady character is, very much based on myself. But obviously, as soon as this video is done, I'm going to take my makeup off, put my overalls back on, and just become Emmy again. And that's going to be my real person. So my real self behind the scenes. But the art of creating a persona, is different for different things. I might have a slightly different persona for my gigs that I go play, and I might have a slightly different persona for different types of gigs that I'm playing. Because I'm playing a different role. So if you're doing another type of job that's not a creative job, you're going to have a certain role. You're going to be the accountant. You're going to be the this, the that. You're going to have a certain role that you're fulfilling, and that you're, doing the work that needs to be done to be that specific job. Whatever that job would be. You are the engineer. You are the this. You are the that. And so you step into that role and you do as good of a job as you can do. Now, in the arts world, that becomes extremely murky. So in terms of me, personally being a professional musician, I can't just be a fiddle player. There has to be something special about me. There has to be something different about me, it's in comparison to all of the rest of the fiddle players that one could listen to or one could hire for a gig or whatever. So I have to be as much of me as possible. So the way to do that is to curate and take all of the parts of myself that I want to put out there, and emphasize and decide what those things are, and create a little bit of a package. And that helps tremendously. It helps actually the audience, your audience, your students, whatever, digest things better. It helps you play the role, and it also helps you on the off days. And that's what I was mentioning a little bit before, but let's talk about that a little bit more. So you're not going to be able to keep the person, being 100% of yourself all the time. You're going to have to show up and be professional and put, emotions aside and things like that. And that's where the persona comes in handy, because you can literally walk into a gig or a situation and go, okay, I'm putting on my persona hat right now, and I'm going to play this role, and that's what I'm going to do. And it helps you get through the tough times. So it's a really good thing to do as, insurance to, what's going to happen on bad days. Because let me tell you, when you're touring around and doing things, you're not going to be in the best mood all of the time. And when you have to appear a certain way, it's good to have something to fall back on of, okay, I know I have the muscle memory of this particular persona that I'm going to put on, and I'm just going to do that, and everything's going to be great, right? It's true. Emotions are so important on stage. The audience can read you like a book. So if you're feeling off or something like that, you just gotta slap a smile on and do the show, and everything's gonna be great. So in terms of creating this persona, what you can do eventually, if it's feeling a little bit too like you're wearing a mask, that's separate from you, then all you need to do is integrate it a little bit more into your actual personality. So if you feel like your persona feels like you're wearing some kind of an awkwardly fit suit, it's likely that your persona is based on somebody else and not on you. So it's really important to make sure that that persona is really a personification of you, actually. And it's not you pretending to be somebody that you admire or, something like that. It's okay to emulate people, but I would emulate certain aspects of what they do and not their whole character, not their manner of speaking, not the way they write everything, not the, you want to be careful not to fall into just copying someone else. So if you have some kind of artist that you are totally in love with and really just want to be them, I would sit down and write 10 things about that artist that you feel like, okay, I love these 10 things. How can I incorporate these things into my persona in a way that looks like it's me and not them? Because generally, it's a little too superficial to just copy somebody's outside. You want to kind of look at, okay, I love the way they wrote that tune, but I love it because ... It has, this certain flavor to it, and then incorporate the flavor, not the copying of the tune, right? Get it? So, you want to be careful with those things. Always be yourself, be authentic. The most important thing is to be you. So what you're going to do to create more confidence in your life is you're going to have to, and this is something that people forget about, you have to prove to yourself that you can do this stuff. And the only way that you can do that is by doing it. So you're not going to feel confident about playing gigs or performing out or any of that stuff right away. In fact, you're probably going to be terrified of it. And in fact, that's probably a good thing, because having a healthy fear of something that you're trying to do means that A, it's really important to you, and B, you're terrified of failing, which means you want to do a good job. So if you just refocus on, okay, how can I do my best with this? Like, do the best job that you can do. And you won't do it perfectly, and that's fine. And next time you will have notes for yourself. You can do it again. So it's doing that again and again and again, and trying, failing. Believe me, I've had a lot of failures. It's like, it's never a straight line. It's never a straight lined process with this stuff. Sometimes you have to make some mistakes to figure out what really doesn't work and what doesn't work for you. Sometimes things will not, exactly work for you, but they could work for another person. If you don't go through that trial process, you won't know what is going to work and what's not going to work. So you have to, over time, prove to yourself that you can do this thing, that you can do professional music, that you can play in a band, that you can do that. You have to prove to yourself first and foremost, before you prove to anybody else, that you can do these things. And that in and of itself will give you the confidence to say next time, yep, I can do that. And I'm a big advocate for just taking gigs you don't know how to do yet. I learned how to do so many things by somebody just saying, hey, can you do this thing? And I was like, not right now, but I can learn how to do it by next week. And when you're playing professional music, you often get wind up in those situations where somebody goes, hey, can you do this? And you have to go, can I? Not today, but I will spend all of the next month learning how to do that, and I will, kind of puts a fire underneath you and you can get it done. So I did that many, many times. I did that all through, my early music years. I would take gigs if, even if I didn't know how to do the thing yet, but I would work and work and work and make sure I could do a good job of something when I got there. So it's a good thing to do. And then, so if you've gone through this process of creating a persona, integrating that persona into yourself, and then proving that you can be that persona, proving that you can be that confident being, you don't want to stop there. The last process is very, very important. I would say it's the most important over the long haul, is to update your persona. So every time you've slipped into something comfortable, I would say push the envelope a little bit and up the ante on that persona. Like say, okay, now this Emerald Ray character is going to do such and such, and just add to it a little bit. Every time things start to feel comfortable and in stride, you want to push yourself out of your comfort zone just a little bit. And then you will build more skills and you will have more confidence, and you'll keep adding and keep adding to the persona, keep adding to your skill base, and you will have a wonderful career. I promise you. In anything. Anybody that is willing to learn can do anything. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you think about it, and let me know what else you'd love to know about professional music, and I will see you in the next video.